So welcome everybody. My name is Rihanna. My account is at Twin Torties. Usually I have 6 cat butts in my video with me for these. However, I am dog sitting right now. So if you see a dog in the background, pretend it's a cat, a travel cat. So I'm here today with Vacation Cat and Clementine and Heathcliff and a cat named Fig and Sirius and Draco, and we are going to talk to all of you about air travel and hotels. So if in the chat right now, everybody in the room wants to introduce themselves, their cat names, their Instagram handles, that way everybody can get to know each other. If you've traveled with your cats before, if you're just interested in learning today because you haven't traveled yet, that'd be so interesting for us to know. And we will start with Vacation Cat. If you want to just do like a little bit of an intro on yourself, that would be great.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny, and this is Raja. I'm keeping him in front of the computer by bribing him with treats so that he can say hello to all of you guys. We are American. We're from New York City, but we live in Mexico City now. We actually moved abroad last year. So I adopted Raja when he was a kitten from my local humane society, and he has been traveling with me pretty much since he was a baby. I'm going to let him walk away now. We have been all around the US, and now we are exploring Latin America because of our new home base. So really excited to talk to you all about airplane travel. Even we've traveled a lot on trains, so happy to talk about that. And staying in hotels is one of our big passions. We're a little bougie, so we like nice hotels. So happy to answer any questions you guys might have about those topics.
Thank you. Okay, so after we do introductions, I'll ask a couple questions, and then at the end, if we have time to, we'll open it up to more question and answer. But please feel free to follow your host throughout, so you can always reach out to them like after all of this too and ask more questions and get more resources. All right, Clementine and Heathcliff, you are up.
Hi, I'm Inaya, and this is Heathcliff. Oh. And he is 11 months old, and I as well adopted him when he was 3 months from our local shelter. And we've been traveling and going on outings ever since. We have flown on a plane a couple times. I think at least for, I'm in Austin, Texas, another American, and at least at the Austin, Texas airport, they say I have the record number of cats through TSA, which is 3, traveling with 3 cats, pretty much roughly around 1 year or younger in the backpack. So I'm happy to talk about that, my experience, and yeah.
Thank you. And her account's adorable, so definitely follow. Okay, and then let's go to a cat named Fig.
Hey guys, I'm Chelsea, and Fig is joining us right now. Scout is somewhere else, but I'm a cat named Fig on TikTok and Instagram, and I've been traveling around with Fig since we got her in January 2020 or 2021, and we've been traveling around so for about a year, and then we got Scout in the summer. And between all of our social media accounts, we have about 250,000 followers. So I'm happy to talk about anything social media based, any questions you may have, as well as we road trip quite a bit with them. And we're also a bit bougie and like to stay in some fancy hotels. And I hope you guys can see me well. I know I'm kind of silhouetted, but this is the best place for me to sit. So you can see Figgy with us right now. And yeah, any questions you may have about social media or road tripping with cats, bougie hotels, I'm your girl.
Fig looks so comfortable. I love it. Sirius and Draco, do you want to do an introduction?
I'm not really good at speaking, but my cats are here. They're just not wanting to be on camera. I'm Alix Lazare. I'm from Canada as well, but Alberta. We are also bougie, stay in a lot of hotels in the Rocky Mountains. But we haven't air traveled yet.
All right, thank you to all of our other hosts. And I am Brianna Lane. Our account is at Twin Torties on Instagram and TikTok. I am the mom of 6 former feral cats that I have found all in the bushes. So I don't know if I found them or they found me. But initially I found them when I was living in California, but I also live in New Hampshire. So my twin torties had to go from feral to flying really quick. So the 2 of them and I have been on over 20 flights together. And so we are pretty good at airplane, but we haven't done it since COVID, and they were not invited on this dog sitting trip because there are too many hamsters here. So I wasn't playing that game. Okay, so we will get into some questions. So if all of my hosts who want to speak want to unmute, that way everyone can kind of chime in because we are limited on time. How about what to expect when you're flying with your cat? What are some things that people here who have or haven't flown with cats before can expect?
I can start. I'll say probably the most awkward moment is going through security at the airport with TSA, because your cat, perhaps unsurprisingly, should not be going through the scanner. You need to take your cat out of his backpack or his carrier and walk him through the metal detector. So my cat, most of the time he's totally happy as a clam going in and out of his backpack. But the airport is a little bit of a jarring experience for him with lots of people, lots of weird noises. So whenever I have to get him out of his backpack to walk through the metal detector, he's always like digging claws into the mat, and I have to yank him out a little bit. But luckily then I take him out of the bag, we put the bag through the scanner, we walk through the metal detector. I don't have to go through the one where, you put your hands up. They always let me walk through the normal, easy one with the cat. And then once we get through the other side, I just put him back in his backpack and that's it. But that's probably the only stressful experience for my cat is having to come out of the backpack in the middle of TSA security. And then once we're on the airplane, he's very content to just, snooze in his backpack for most of the flight. If it is a longer flight, and if there's anyone sitting in the row with me, if they don't mind, sometimes I'll let him come out for a few minutes to sit on my lap and look out the window and just stretch his legs. But it's never an issue. He almost always just goes back into his bag after a couple of minutes. Most of the time he's very relaxed. He's not upset, but every once in a while, I'd say maybe 15% of the time we fly, he's in a bad mood. He's kind of cranky and he starts meowing. So I carry CBD oil with me in the pocket of my cat backpack, and I'll either drop a couple drops into his mouth or I'll put it on my hands and I'll rub it into his whiskers. For some reason, he really likes that a lot, and that usually calms him down. So definitely, some people think that they need to give medication to their cat before traveling or tranquilize them. I really don't suggest or support that. The idea scares me. I'd say just get your cat used to traveling. And I think natural remedies, like I said, I'm a big fan of CBD oil, but Jackson Galaxy, I think Travel Cat sells, they have a natural a travel solution oil as well that you can feed or your cat or rub it onto their fur or their whiskers. So
I'm going to agree with that too, and just chime in, because the first time I flew with my girls, I asked my vet about medicating them, and she said there's likely not a vet on the plane. So if we're going to want to medicate them, it's something we're going to want to trial before when we're at home and you can get to the vet, so in case anything goes wrong. So I've never done the medications either. I've only done the natural things. We have like a little turkey tryptophan rub thing that they eat off my hand. So the same. For getting through security, I also hold both of them. That's why I think harness and leash training before and all of this is like so important, because you kind of want to do little steps to lead up for these like bigger kind of scarier moments. But you also can ask security when you get there if they can take you into the other room for like a private screening if this is too overwhelming for you, because like my mom took 4 kittens I had found across the country to their new home. We do a lot of cat rescue stuff. But she was overwhelmed with 4 kittens in one little security bucket. So they went into the private screening room. And yeah, So I think that's really helpful. Also, if you do try to carry cat litter in your bag, expect them to stop you and think it's something else. So I would recommend, if possible for you, signing up for TSA pre beforehand or global entry, whatever that is for you, so that you're not also at security taking off your shoes, taking all your things out of your bags. It's pretty much just an easier process because your hands are going to be full holding onto your cat. My cats, it's so funny. They know when their bag's going through security and they just look for it and like meow for it. And then as soon as they see their bag and realize what we're doing, they're in their bag and calm for the rest of the flight. For the longest we've flown is 6 hours. Does anyone else have anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did see a question in the chat about like what's the bathroom litter situation. For us, I would say from leaving our home to going to the airport, waiting at the airport, the duration of the flight, and then traveling to our destination once we arrive. I'd say the longest time for us may be like 6 or 7 hours. One thing that I do is before the flight, while we're at home, I make sure they do eat, and half time after they eat to use the litter box. My cats typically will do that about like 15-20 minutes after they have a full meal. But I would say don't really worry about like your cats like having an accident or needing to use the litter during your travel. Most cats are pretty good about not going because cats like to be really comfortable and know where they are when they're going. And so usually they won't even like have to go. I haven't experienced any accidents while traveling with them. I know some cats may be different if they do tend to have accidents when they're feeling very anxious. And maybe that's something like if you know you have a very anxious cat, considering like natural remedies like was mentioned to kind of calm their anxieties. We personally have never used medications to calm our cats. I think it's just they have their safe space in their bag. When I have to take them out of their bag through TSA, I think that me also being a safe space for them and holding on to them relieves some of their anxiety when going through that as well. So I think, yeah, you don't really have to worry too much about letting your cat use the litter like at the airport or on the flight. I don't think that's really going to be an issue.
100%. And I definitely also think that they do pick up on your emotions. So even if this is stressful, like she's saying, like you want to stay calm because you're their safe space too throughout all of this. So it's really important to stay as calm as you can. How about we talk about cat-friendly hotels? I know that a couple of us in here like bougie options, but I also think it's important to find cat-friendly hotels in your area. We have done a big focus on this among some of my cat people in case of emergencies, whether it's earthquakes, fires, like just knowing cat-friendly hotels in your area, even if you're not traveling long distance, is important to have just prepared in advance. But let's also talk about those bougie hotels.
Who do you want to start?
Whoever wants to. I'm my host.
So I don't have any commentary on bougie hotels specifically. I'm more of an Airbnb or stay with friends and family person. I think that especially with Airbnb, it's typically pretty easy to find pet-friendly homes. And you can find some really unique and interesting homes as well on Airbnb. So that's kind of my take. I'm in Austin, Texas. We've traveled to Georgia mostly because that's where I have family. So again, I can't speak to bougie hotel, but I'd say a tip I'd recommend is Airbnb, because usually other homes are more likely to be cat friendly.
So I'll say that, if I'm traveling to a specific destination, so if I choose the destination first and then I have to find accommodations, sometimes it can be more challenging to find a hotel that I really love that will be not only welcoming of pets, but welcoming of cats. As it was discussed earlier, pet friendly does not always mean cat friendly. So you really need to clarify. And I do end up staying in Airbnbs a lot if I'm having a hard time finding a hotel that I would be comfortable in and that would welcome my cat. But more often than not, because I am really a fan of hotels, I will choose where to go based on the hotel that I want to visit. So oftentimes I plan trips specifically to stay at a nice hotel and have the hotel and its amenities sort of be the destination. So I think probably the best cat-friendly hotel I've been to so far was in Manchester, Vermont. If anyone is New England based or likes to go up there, especially during the autumn with the foliage, is really beautiful. It's called the Equinox Resort. And it's really pet friendly. I mean, most of their guests are dogs, but they are welcoming of cats. I actually ended up making one of my favorite Instagram travel cat friends was someone I met because we were both guests at the Equinox Resort. And so now we're Instagram pals. So that was really neat. But I also have like a giant wish list of travel that I want to plan specifically based on the hotels I want to visit. Now that restrictions are lifted, it's been a long couple years of planning all the places I want to take my cat. A couple of the places that I really want to visit in the United States, I'll share with you guys. So Franklin, Tennessee, it's a small city outside of Nashville, but it's named the #1 most pet-friendly city in the United States, not just for dogs, but for cats too. So there's so many cool things to do in Franklin, and I really want to go and explore the whole town with my cat. And nearby in Lexington, Kentucky, there's a really cool hotel called the 21C Museum Hotel that it's part boutique hotel and part art museum. And it's totally cat friendly. And they'll give you a cat bed and bowl and treats upon arrival to make sure that your four-legged friend is just as comfortable as you. There's also a great hotel in Hawaii called the Surf Jack that is, again, pet friendly, including cats. And they even give pet owners a 10% discount on surf lessons. That's like a fun little perk for if you bring your pet with you. So those are kind of on my wish list of places that I'm hoping to go. If you guys want to write those down, maybe we can plan a giant cat retreat together. We can all travel. And I have a separate list because, like I said, I'm in Mexico now. And so I specifically have a hotel in Cancun, a hotel in Los Cabos, and a hotel in Acapulco that I'm planning to go to, hopefully all of them in the next year, that are all cat friendly. So if you ever have any additional questions on cat friendly hotels around the world, feel free to ping me on Instagram. I have a constantly updating list of where I'm intending to go with Raja.
That's so awesome. Actually, that leads into probably like our next question because I want to get everything in. So I'd love to talk about traveling with your cat internationally. And then I'd also just like to make sure that we can talk about like social media and traveling with your cat. I know that a cat named Fig is really big on this. And I just would love to get all that in. So also I'm making sure to add all the host tags into the chat in case we don't have time to get to all your questions. Please feel free to reach out. We will help out as much as we can. So do you want to talk about international travel? I have not traveled internationally, but I know that you have a lot. So go ahead, vacation cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying not to take over the whole panel, but yeah, so before Mexico was actually our first international destination. We were planning a trip to Costa Rica before the pandemic. That was going to be Raja's first international trip. And then that got thwarted. But now we are based in Mexico. And so we've been traveling around. I actually did a Instagram story takeover of the Your Cat Backpack account yesterday and was sharing some pictures from one of our most recent domestic trips to Guadalajara, which is a big city in the country of Mexico. I will say there are some differences between traveling to and around Mexico than within the United States. One positive difference is emotional support animals are still allowed in Mexico, unlike the ruling in the US where most airlines kind of squashed that last year. you can still fly with your cat as an emotional support animal in Mexico. However, there is more paperwork required. In addition to having a rabies vaccine, which is pretty much the only requirement to fly in the US, you also need, regardless of if your cat is an indoor cat, you need on their fur parasite medication. So you have to go to the vet. You can't just submit your rabies form that from your last visit. You do have to go to the vet, and you have to get a couple of days before you fly this parasite medication rubbed into their fur. And a lot of airlines also require, even for domestic flights, a travel certificate, which is just the vet signing off and saying the cat seems healthy. So it does end up, regardless of if you're flying your pet as a carry-on pet or as an emotional support animal, you do end up having to pay the vet a lot of extra money for what, in my opinion, are these kind of unnecessary pieces of paperwork. But you know, that's the laws of the country, so it is what it is. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same thing, and the same. If you're going to fly, you know, you go to the airport, you make sure to get there early. Lines at the airports in Mexico are notoriously slow. It's a very, very slow process. And so I would give yourself an extra at least 40 minutes, if not more, to make sure that you can check in on time. Because even if you're there early and the line's going slow and then check-in closes while you're still in line, you will be out of luck. So make sure if you're traveling, and this is probably the case in a lot of international countries, especially Latin America, give yourself extra time at the airport because it can be really slow moving.
And then we have about 3 minutes left. So also, Anaya, can you hold up that backpack that's behind you just so people can see like how the backpack would fit under the seat? And
Yeah,
then,
absolutely.
thank you.
And
See
so
how it
I
has like
also
the
wanted
flat
to
panel?
mention that, like, I usually fly Delta, and most airlines will list their pet requirements and carry-on size requirements. I can say from experience that Delta will accept the Fat Cat backpack as a size. And typically what you will have to do is in the seat in front of you, you have to position the cat backpack like this. And I think someone else mentioned that on the airline, like they may let their cat out, you know, for a few minutes or so. I've been able to do the same thing. So again, I like Delta for many reasons, one of which being it's very accommodating for pet cat travel.
Yes, thank you for showing that too, because I think that helps people understand how to put it under. And then Chelsea, do you want to quickly just talk about like socials and traveling cats? I know that's your expertise.
Yeah, so if you want to know more about if you want to get your cat on social media, you know, I don't know a specific sort of question, but I can just give a little bit of advice is when you're starting out, post often, post the things that you enjoy posting, make it fun. Yeah, if you're looking at growing your following, choose if you're doing reels or what's the big thing now, like on Instagram, you can actually make them on TikTok. If you want to make it really easy when you're first starting out, make them on TikTok, download them, and then post them on Instagram. Use a different music for each one because you'll find that there's different trending music on TikTok than there is for Instagram. So if you use the trending music, your videos will get pushed to the top. More people will see what you're posting and more people will know more about adventuring cats. Is there any specific questions to do with that at all, or I don't know here in the chat?
I'm not sure, but I am seeing a lot of people asking about booking tickets to fly with their cats. From my experience, I haven't traveled with my girls since COVID, but I did book my tickets. As soon as I booked my ticket, I would call the airline to confirm that my girls, sorry, the dog's sitting, were on the same flight as me, because one time I got to the airport, even though it had been confirmed, and the lady was like, I don't have them in your thing. You're not going to be able to take them. And I'm not getting on the plane unless my babies are in my hands. So like that went well. But you want to call and book your ticket for your pet as soon, at least from my experience, as soon as you've booked your ticket, because a lot of airlines do have a cap on how many pets they will allow on the plane too. So you want to make sure that your pet is on your flight with you. And yes, I've paid the extra cost when ESAs were a thing. You didn't necessarily have to pay the cost, and my cats technically are ESAs for me. However, I have paid the cost too before, just because whatever, I don't really care. As long as my babies are with me, I'll pay the cost.
I'll jump in to say that the cost is usually around 100 to 150 US dollars per flight. So it does add up. But of course, I mean, if you are really keen to travel with your pet, it's definitely worth it. And the other big difference between an emotional support animal, it's not just about saving money, but if you are flying with an emotional support animal, they are allowed to sit on your lap, whereas a carry-on pet is supposed to remain in their carrier for the entire time. Whether or not, you know, the airline is going to super enforce that rule, I mean, I think it depends on how well behaved your pet is and how accommodating the people next to you are as well. So if regardless of the status of your animal, if they're a carry-on pet or an emotional support animal, you do have rights flying with your animal as a pet owner. And if the person sitting next to you either has an allergy, doesn't like animals, is very cranky, technically they are the ones that would have to move. You do have the right to be there with your animal, as long as, of course, they're registered with the airline and they're supposed to be there and you got permission. That said, though, I'm trying to, with everything I do, have a positive reflection on cats traveling in planes and really trying to make a good impression. And so I always offer to be the one to move if there is an issue. That said, I've never had to. I think in all the flights I've gone on, there have only been 2 times when the person next to me was very uncomfortable and they were fine moving themselves. And then one time, I had someone sitting next to me that did have an allergy, and they said, you know, I'll be fine as long as the cat stays in the back the whole time. And so out of respect to my seatmate, I had my cat stay in the back the whole time, and it was not a problem. So
thank you all so much. We do need to close on the room, and Kimchi's mom, Erica, is back to host the next room in here. So again, follow your host. I'm trying to post it into here. So that we can answer any questions we did not get to. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope that you all check out the new travel backpack that's coming out for airlines as well, and we'll catch you in other rooms. Have fun.
Hello. Thank you so much, Rihanna of Twin Torties. I am here to be the moderator for the next group, which is all about how to grow your social media following, which is super exciting because I'm excited to learn from the people that's on this call right now. So we have a cat named Fig, as well as Travel Cat Mom to do the panel with us today. And sorry, if we could just make sure that everyone is muted. We will start off with a round of introductions again, which is just your name and your cat handle and where you're located for my 2 fellow panelists. And then we'll dive into the questions, dive into the questions for this particular session. So let's start it off with a cat named Fig.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I know I'm silhouetted here, but it was the best way of showing you Fig. This is her favorite place to lie. I live on Vancouver Island, and I've had Fig since January 2021 and Scout since July. And yeah, I'm your girl for all things social media based. If you have any questions to do with that, I've been also traveling with Fig and Scout since we got Fig in January. Pretty much, I had the backpack before I had her. And yeah, that's all about me so far.
Thank you so much. Sorry, could we just ask everyone to mute?
Yeah, sorry about that. I heard something in my ear and I couldn't finish what I was saying there. Sorry.
Okay. So yes, please, could we please mute everyone if that's possible? We're going to move on to Holly of Travel Cat Mom.
Hey, so I'm Holly, Travel Cat Mom. I've had my cat, he's my only cat, Meister, had him for 4 years, just had a birthday party for him. We're located in California, and I started training him when he was about 12 to 16 weeks old. So he's always been very adventurous. So that's why I started training him.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. So quickly introduce myself. My name is Erica. I am one of the humans for Kimchi the Adventure Cat. I'm located here in Tiohtià:ke, or so-called Montreal. And we're super excited, like I said, to hear from the panelists all about how to grow your social media following. And we have some questions prepared, but I'd also love to see some of your questions in the chat so we can keep the conversation going. So first question for the panelists here is, why did you want to make a social media for your cats?
I can start there. My partner actually is the one who got me into doing it. He's a professional extreme athlete who also does a lot of things on social media. And yeah, so he started the TikTok account for me, and he goes, "You're gonna love it. It'll be great." And I was actually pretty shaky to start, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I loved taking photos and videos of my cats. And it became more and more fun taking those videos and posting them on there. And then more and more people coming on and liking them. I kind of got addicted to it. And that's how it started.
So my cat is my entire life. I love him to pieces. I also love making videos and taking pictures. I actually went to school for film. So that's like my thing. Also, I kind of wanted to try to make it a career, because 9 to 5 is not for me. I'm not built for that. I can't do it. I tried. And so like having access to social media and having the opportunity to use these platforms and to, showcase my cat and everything that he does and everything that we do together, like it's been really great just having that and being able to build something from it.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. So I'm going to ask a second follow-up question there for you folks. What's your favorite part? And you both kind of touched this on this already, but what's your favorite part about having a social media for your cats?
Just being able to share them with everyone. It's wonderful. Like, obviously they don't get to play with them and feel their love and all that, but they feel like they do. And I get messages from people constantly thanking me for sharing them with them, and that they make them think of cats that have passed on for them. And it's a really beautiful community that has been built up. And yeah, like I said, I'm obsessed with it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of said this already, but my favorite part is just getting to do what I love for work. And like when people ask me what I do for work, I'm like, I make cat videos for a living. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I can't complain. I mean, that being said, it's not easy, but it's amazing.
Thank you so much, both. Okay, so now we're going to get into the I guess technical questions about having an Instagram or TikTok. So how do you reach people and gain new followers? Do you have a strategy? What do you do to do so?
I can go first. So it's easier now. The more you grow, the easier it is, right? You don't have to follow kind of the rules. But to start out, it's posting constantly, pretty much. Just constantly posting, making sure, like, I just have a good iPhone with a good camera on it. So if you're looking at upgrading your phone, look for one with a really good camera. So you have good quality, and then follow trends. And a lot of time it's music. So I do a lot of reels, and I will make them on TikTok, but lots of times, like, I have other apps that I use too, but lots of times I'll make them on TikTok use a song that's trending on there and use a completely different song on my Instagram, because that song may be trending on Instagram. And the songs that are trending or the ones that are recommended to you are usually the ones that they will push out to the front. More people will see it, more people will follow.
I think it's also important to be authentic, obviously, and to find a niche, like what is your thing? What do you specialize in? And honestly, the more specific, the better. And that's kind of how, just finding what you're good at and knowing how to provide value in that area to people. That's how you'll find your audience, because if you try to reach everybody, you're going to end up reaching nobody. So I think that's one of my biggest tips.
That is a great point, Holly. And I'm going to push it a little bit more. So can you explain what exactly a niche is? Like, what is the niche that you have right now? Is it important to have, and how do you develop it?
So a niche is just like a specialized area, something specific that you are good at. And basically, sorry. Yeah, I feel like experimenting in the beginning is really important to find that, because sometimes it's really hard to like just come up with, what's my thing? What am I good at? Because a lot of us have a lot of different passions, a lot of areas of interest. And, some people try to combine it all into one, which usually doesn't work at all unless they kind of go hand in hand. So just coming up with just posting and experimenting in different areas and seeing, what resonates with your audience, what do you like to do, what are you good at, what do people get the most from you, what kind of value are you able to give people?
That's really good. Chelsea, did you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I agree fully. Everything from being authentic, being completely yourself. We're very quirky, and and my family's a little quirky, and we're just us, and being yourself and traveling around, and your niche just kind of falls into place, right? You just be authentic, be who you are, share that, and it'll resonate.
Perfect. So I have a few really good questions in the chat, actually. So one of them is from Katie. And that question is, how do you balance connecting personally on social media with your own personal privacy? I think that's a really, really good question.
That is a good question. Because right now I'm actually working on, I want to share more. It's not just about the Cats for Our account, it's our family. It's, we showcase the cat friendly resorts, but it's not just because of the cats, it's everything they offer for the entire family. But I do have rules. I don't share my children's names. I don't share, the exact location of where we live. And I just have those rules for my own family. But that is a very good question on how much to share. Even like I'll share everything with the cats. Like we're going through, Fig just got diagnosed with, oops, sorry, baby. Her hip is she might need surgery in a few months. We're trying to work on it, and I'm sharing that sort of stuff. But maybe if I needed surgery, coming up, I'm not really sure about sharing that. So that's a good question that I'm still working on myself.
I try to just post anything that's relevant to my niche and has to do with my cat. I try to make it more about him than me. And I also have a personal life, outside of social media. I do like dancing, and I was on a dance team, and like some people knew about that, but they would ask me, oh, like who do you dance for? What team are you on? And I won't say, because just privacy, and like I don't want someone finding me and stalking me like at a game or something, So yeah, just knowing like where to draw the line and how to keep things separate. That's really gonna help.
Yeah, thank you both for those answers. I think that those are great answers, and knowing what your boundaries are and knowing, what to share and what not to share. So another really great question from Katia here, or Katia, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but can you speak about sponsors? How do you get them, and how do you create a media sheet, etc.? Or what is a media sheet actually?
Okay, I'll go first again on this one too. So it's, I'm just kind of starting out in this as well. For connecting with sponsors, a lot of times they will connect with me first. But I have reached out to companies myself. It's tough. You need to know your worth. You need to be confident in yourself. And when you're reaching out to these companies, make sure that they will resonate well with your followers. And that's the balance that I find is if say there's like, I work with Trupanion Insurance, and I actually reached out to them, and I believe in insurance and Trupanion very much. So it was a very good connection. So that's pretty much my advice is if you want to work with companies and you're just starting out and you're reaching out, make sure that it's not just like, oh, that furniture store I really like, I want their couch, make sure that it's something that will benefit your followers as well, benefits, and that you believe in. That's everything that I've ever promoted, or a company that I've worked in with. I believe in that company, and I want my followers to know about them.
I do the same thing. I make sure, I get offers from different brands that have nothing to do with my niche at all, like makeup companies or whatever. I was like, well, that'd be really nice, but it's not going to help anything. It's not, my followers are not, it's going to alienate them. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, what is this? I'm following you for cat content. So, I have to turn those down. I don't really have a media sheet, but I do believe that influence comes before income. And if you are able to grow your account and get a lot of followers, that's really going to help you get noticed by brands, and they will end up reaching out to you. And that's kind of what happened to me.
Those are really great questions, answers. No, those were also great questions, but those were great answers. So I'm gonna flip it a little bit because I have a really good question here from Louise, and we touched upon it earlier where, you use an iPhone, for example, but do you have any other special equipment to get video? Like, do you use lighting? What do you use for your photos to make it super crisp?
So for photos, I actually just use Lightroom, and I have the good quality camera phone, but I'm just learning how to use right now a handheld gimbal, and I'm working on that to get smoother content. I'm in the process of learning how to do my partner's showing me how to do proper video editing, but I use the app OneShot, and TikTok a lot of times for video editing. So you do not have to make it harder than it is to start. When you start going up and start doing YouTube videos and stuff like that, yeah, you might need a little bit, more high tech sort of equipment, but a phone, like I said, InShot, you utilize TikTok. It's a very easy video editing platform. And then you can start bringing in the other toys like the gimbals and learning some more.
Gimbals are fun. I have one too. But I agree. You don't really need any fancy equipment. I don't have any cameras. I just use my phone. And I think that honestly, lighting is more important than the camera itself, because the more lighting you have and the more, if it's good quality lighting, it's going to show, through the video or photo or whatever. Hi, my cat just walked in. Sorry. Yeah. So, So yeah, I mean, since I went to school for film, I do video editing too. I use Premiere sometimes, but for like TikTok, I just use like iMovie on my phone, and it's just like easier, everything's at your fingertips. I also use Lightroom sometimes, or Photoshop for, if I want like something, if I want to work on some details of a picture. But yeah, that's basically it. I think that iPhones work great, and lighting is very important.
Great tips. So big thing there is you don't really need any fancy cameras, but lighting, very, very, very important. So actually working into the video editing, I know that some folks kind of struggle with this, but what are your tips and tricks when it comes to the built-in editors or any video editing app actually? I can throw it over to you, Holly.
Are there like looking for any specific like tips or anything?
I think it's just general tips.
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to think about that if Chelsea wants to take over.
I'm over here shrugging my shoulder. It's like I said, it goes back to not making it harder than it needs to be. I have fun with it. Everything is fun and it doesn't feel like work. So, I take a lot of B-roll is what I call it. I take shots of everything. And lots of times I will have those 35 clips up in my TikTok and I'll go through each one and play around with it. Do not make it harder than it needs to be. Just have fun. Take a lot of video of everything and put it together, and it'll work.
B-roll is really important. Like you said, especially for like YouTube, if you wanted to end up doing YouTube and it's like any long form content where you're like talking a lot or explaining something, it's really good to have a lot of visuals, a lot of B-roll, and also fast cuts just to keep people's attention.
These are great. So in terms of
you have
tips,
to
yes. Oh, well, in terms of a quick summary for that, having a B-roll, taking videos of everything, super, super helpful. Also, again, having really good lighting. Don't necessarily need to have the fanciest camera or even any expensive tools for video editing, because it'll come with a nice lighting. Another question for you all, for you both actually, is do you prefer photos or reels?
I love both, but I do prefer reels because I can have more fun with them. I add the music, you can do the trending sort of things that are going on where it looks like the cat's talking. You can have fun with them. But I also I take like a billion photos. You should see my phone. Actually, my partner, I was complaining my phone wasn't working properly, and my partner went and looked, and I have 43,000 videos on my phone right now. So that'll tell you that I obviously like taking videos maybe a little bit more and posting reels.
The same way, my entire camera roll, like 20 something thousand photos and videos of my cat. I also prefer reels, just because like I love making videos. That's like my thing. And also, like Chelsea was saying earlier, you can make TikToks and turn that into reels. Just get rid of the watermark, and there are sites for that. I think that's helpful because I heard that Instagram will not push it out if they see that like watermark, because they're trying to compete with TikTok. And I have noticed that if there's no watermark, reels get pushed out a lot more than photos do, and like normal posts.
Okay, very good, very good. So I have another follow-up question here when it comes to reels. Can you folks explain again how you pick the trending songs? How do you know something is trending, and how do you know to use that song?
It's super easy because they will tell you. When you go to make it, it'll say recommended songs. I guess it's not so much on Instagram, but there are, when you go to choose a song for your video, there's a list there. If you pick from that list, you're more likely to be bumped up, to be seen by everyone.
Yeah, I pick my trending sounds like on TikTok. And if you go to the explore page on TikTok, it'll come up with a bunch of stuff that's trending. So I'll usually pick something from there.
Perfect. So are you, in terms of TikTok versus Instagram, do you find that being on TikTok and not just being on Instagram is actually helpful for your growth?
Yeah, I'd say that it's helpful to the growth for sure. Because, you know, I've asked people before, I'm on Facebook too, but it's a much smaller following. And I've asked people like, where else do you follow us? And a lot of people it's, I just like Facebook. I just like Instagram. I just like TikTok. So yeah, I'd say it's very helpful to have all the channels because people have their favorites.
Yeah, it is definitely super helpful. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I think that TikTok is easier, honestly, to grow on than other platforms. I think that TikTok gives you like more of an opportunity. You don't have to have like a super big account, like small accounts. You can have like 0 followers and like have something blow up, you know, if you just use the right sound or you jump on the right trend at the right time. And so I think that's really helpful.
Perfect. So
can I say something quickly?
Yeah, for sure,
Chelsea.
It's
really interesting that you say that because at the same time, like I found that TikTok was easier to grow like maybe 6 or so months ago. But it's not consistent because with TikTok, not all of your followers won't necessarily see your video, right? Like it goes to a For You page if they kind of choose for it to go out there. Whereas I find with Instagram, like the amount of followers that you have are more likely to see. So you get more likes, you get more comments. So yeah, if I had to choose a favorite, it would probably be Instagram for that, but TikTok to be able to go like super viral.
Okay, great. So I know we probably have just a few minutes left. I have a really good question here. I love data from Melanie. Do you use any analytics tools to track your media interactions, your social media impressions, engagement, and how do you use it to grow?
The in-app ones on Instagram and TikTok are actually excellent. They're very accurate. Going back to you know, working and collaborating with companies, those are the ones that they ask for as well. So I always do the screenshots of those analytics and send those way. There's Social Blade and whatnot as well that you can use. But yeah, I find the in-app ones the best.
Thanks, Chelsea.
I think it is pretty important to study analytics if you're trying to grow your account. It'll help you see, you know, watch time and where like people are dropping off in the video and how you can fix that. And it'll like really show you what resonates with your audience and what doesn't. And that if you see clearly like a certain type of video is doing really well on your account, TikTok basically tells you like double down on that and just make more of that.
Yeah, great. So many really good questions. I keep because you folks have such really great experiences and thoughts to share. With that said, do you find that posting at certain times changes with the engagement and actually increases engagement?
I do, definitely. If I post first thing in the morning, I'm from London, Ontario, Canada, so I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. And if I post between like 8 a.m. to 12 noon, my posts do really well. And I've actually been testing this out over the last month. If I post anytime basically past noon until about, I'd say 6 p.m., my posts literally nosedive. But if I stay within a time frame, then my posts do really well.
Yeah, I'd say that I don't always like I don't follow the rules at all, but if I post around noon, yeah, like I'll look at the analytics and you know, my popular time is around noon as well. If I post then, I will yeah, it'll do much better, but I'm not always that organized. So
For some reason, 10:30 a.m. is my time, but I don't always remember to post at that time. But it's okay because I mean, the more you grow, at least more people are gonna see your stuff anyway. And like, no matter what time you post, if you have followers from all around the world, like someone's gonna see it, you know. So I don't think it always matters, but sometimes it does, and then it always changes too. So it's good to experiment with different posting at different times.
yeah, I think actually my most viral video on Instagram, it has like 8.7 million views. And that was posted, yeah, and it was posted like at some random time. I was like, I'm just gonna post this like late in the afternoon. So, you know, there's the rules, but you don't have to really follow them.
These are great. So we are at 2:46. I don't know if any of the Your Cat Backpack folks, do we have any more time to take one more question? Is that okay?
Well, we do have winners we need to announce.
Oh, yes, yes.
So let me do that. So we're in room 1. Okay, so winner number 1, choice of any travel cat harness and leash set is Shannon Bernard. Shannon Bernard wants to put in the chat, hooray, hooray, go you. And we have 2 other winners who are both going to win a pack of supplements from Inklover, and that is Drina Putz and Katie Leatherberry. Oh, good, Shannon's there, hooray. And Drina Putz and Katie Leatherberry are other 2 winners. So again, if you've been picked as a winner for any session, please email me out at yourcatbackpack.com to claim your prize. But it is time for the next session, so we're gonna hop over to that. Round of applause to our speakers.